Okay, time for a dialogue system. This doesn't look too hard. Well, it was a bit more challenging than I thought. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's devlog on my action-adventure game Milo, Tale of the Elder Seed. For this devlog, I'll be talking about implementing a dialogue system. For starters, I'm not a programmer by nature. My background is in art and animation, and I've spent the last 2 years fumbling my way through learning code, and to be honest, I really don't get it half the time. I spent way too much time trying to create some dialogue in my game, which has put me behind schedule. However, I felt it important to get it right, so I pressed on through. For my game, I want to have a basic dialogue system that will allow simple conversations between players and NPCs, multiple choice for player input, as well as simple quests and shops, which I'll have to get to later. I knew I was in way over my head programmically. Is that even a word? Programmically? So I looked up multiple tutorials on how to achieve this. As many of you know, there are a lot of valuable tutorials out there for free, but I find they tend to not quite be what I'm looking for. So I ended up following one of the Udemy courses I purchased a while ago, which did an incredible job of creating a flexible system. That being said, I only got so far into it, creating a dialogue editor, and by the end of it, I was just as confused as when I started. I had already exceeded my personal deadline to complete this feature, so I had to move on. And then I saw a recommendation to not attempt to build my own system, especially if you're a beginner. Just grab an asset from the asset store and run with it. So I purchased the highly rated Pixel Crusher's dialogue system. This asset was also a challenge to understand. They have a number of setups, templates, and tutorials to get you started, but as I said before, nothing is quite exactly what I'm looking for. I'm just picky that way. I had to really dissect how each prefab and function worked in order to get it how I wanted. But for now, I think I got the gist of how it works. It's a heck of a lot easier to learn the tool than to write it in code, at least for me. I have lots of respect for the programmer types. So the next step was easy for me, working out some quick art which I'll likely polish, and then creating the animations. This was also challenging working within the dialogue asset, since many objects and their children are driven by various scripts and canvas components I'm not entirely familiar with. But I did eventually run into another problem. I could not get the sound effects to work with my button clicks. I am a huge stickler for a good responsive game feel. And every time I clicked on one of the buttons, the responses or continue button, it would not play the sound, and it was driving me crazy. So after hours of searching and messing around with the dialogue asset, I found this handy component called the timer. So now when I click, I invoke the timer, and then I invoke the onClick script. So it gives time for the animation to play and the sound effects to play. It made me so happy when I figured this out. So here it is, my dialogue system with the multiple choice answers for the player input. Thanks Pixel Crushers for a great tool. I only wish your documentation search function was better because I couldn't find anything with it. Also thanks to Thomas Brush for the recommendation. No doubt all of you watching this know who he is and his channel, but I highly recommend you check out his full-time game dev course if you haven't already. It's seriously worth every penny. Thanks for watching everyone. Like and subscribe if you'd want to see more of these videos. See ya.